Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go, this is Valley News Live at noon.
We begin with breaking news. One man is now in jail after pulling a loaded gun on a Fargo officer. Officials say it happened around 1:09 this morning when an officer on patrol in the area of 13th Avenue and South University Drive saw a vehicle driven by a person who was suspended and had a warrant for their arrest. Officers identified the driver as 38-year-old Sean Ray Larkin of Fargo. When police stopped the vehicle, Larkin started walking away from officers, and that's when the scuffle ensued. Larkin then pulled out a loaded handgun, but officers were able to wrestle it away before anyone was hurt. Well, a developing story out of West Fargo. West Fargo Cheyenne officials and families were notified Tuesday night after a soccer player tested positive for COVID-19. Officials say all boys soccer participants will refrain from attending any in-person classes. This is the second time a player has tested positive on the soccer team. Now, according to emails shared with Valley News Live, and they were unable to play any games for 2 weeks. This is a developing story. We will have more on this tonight on Valley News Live at 5. New for you at noon. A family of 6 is displaced in Moorhead after a fire breaks out in their home. Now, Moorhead fire crews received a call around 1:45 this morning to 415 Sunrise Circle. You can find this in the neighborhood near Sunset Lanes. The family did get out safely, but had to spend the night somewhere else because of smoke damage. Fire crews say this fire was accidental and caused by improper discarding of smoking materials. Well, another chilly start to our day, but it's starting to feel a little better already than it did this morning. Well, let's check in with meteorologist Lisa.
Yeah, we've got some better visibility out there now after the fog moved through, and temperatures have been on the rise, and we're starting that trend of warming us up out of these cold temperatures. And we were coldest this morning out of this whole stretch of days of cool weather. We're looking at areas that dip down well into the 20s in many locations. Fargo dropped to freezing for the first time this season at 30, and it was 31 in Grand Forks. And check out this photo in Moorhead. The fog that developed, and you can see the frost on the rooftops there too. Thanks, Nate, for sharing that photo with us. And now, warm it up. We're back into the low 50s already here this afternoon. This is a big difference from the last couple of days when we only warmed to these kind of temperatures, and we still have a few more hours of daylight left here. We're looking at 52 in Fargo and 54 in Grand Forks. So temperatures on the rise, and there are some clouds out there, but we're still getting that sun shining through. And as we work our way through the rest of the day today, expect to see temperatures approaching 60 degrees, a good 5+ degrees warmer than we have been in the last couple of days. And we'll just continue this trend into tonight and for the rest of the week as well. We'll talk more about that coming up.
Already warmer and much better than this morning. Thanks again, Lisa. Authorities say one man may face charges following a crash involving a semi and car in Ottatail County. State troopers say the semi driver was going east in the westbound lane of Highway 10 just outside of Param around 8 last night when he hit an SUV. The semi driver wasn't hurt, but 4 people in the SUV were injured, although not seriously. Some North Fargo business owners will be assessing damage after a car smashed into their building overnight. It happened just after 10 last night at 725 18th Street North. There is no word yet about any injuries or what led up to the crash. The trial for a promising COVID-19 vaccine has been put on hold. Pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca made the announcement just days after moving forward with a critical phase 3 trial here in the U.S. And thousands around the world have already been vaccinated as part of this trial. NBC's Tom Costello has the details from Washington.
This morning, a setback for one of the leading candidates in the race for a COVID-19 vaccine. AstraZeneca announcing Tuesday it voluntarily paused vaccination to allow review of safety data by an independent committee, calling it a routine action which has to happen whenever there is a potentially unexplained illness in one of the trials.
This is the sort of event that can occur in a vaccine trial. We don't know whether it's related to the vaccine. This could have been in a person who got the placebo. This is standard operating procedure.
AstraZeneca, which is working with researchers at Oxford University, began critical phase 3 human trials in the U.S. last week, the third vaccine candidate to enter that phase after Pfizer and Moderna. In the AstraZeneca trials, 30,000 volunteers will get 2 shots 1 month apart.
It's good to be able to help people in some small way.
Last Thursday, Dave and Shelby O'Connor were given the vaccine or placebo as part of the trial.
Anything that slows the trials down is obviously disappointing. But as a participant who's felt fine since I've gotten vaccinated, it didn't really have any bearing on me.
Oxford researchers say the vaccine helps the immune system generate COVID-19 antibodies. Back in July, they said the vaccine was found to be well tolerated. Fatigue and headaches were the most commonly reported side effects at the time. The news about a pause in trials comes as pharmaceutical companies face increasing political pressure, mostly from President Trump, to produce a vaccine before Election Day. Just this week, AstraZeneca was one of 9 companies signing an unprecedented pledge, promising not to rush their vaccine candidates or cave to political pressure.
We don't want to rush these trials. We want them done in a very rigorous fashion. And this is an example of why. If a serious adverse medical event occurs, we want it investigated.
We now know that the person who had the adverse effect was in the UK, one of thousands of people around the world, in the US, Brazil, and in Britain to receive this vaccine trial. It's not clear how long it would take for AstraZeneca to conduct a full investigation. Well, let's take a look at COVID-19 numbers. In Minnesota, the Department of Health is reporting 282 confirmed cases of COVID-19, along with 7 new deaths linked to the illness. In total, over 1,800 deaths have been attributed to the disease. Over 75,000 people are listed as recovered. In North Dakota, there are 239 new cases, along with 1 more death in the state. The death toll now sits at 157, and the active case count is up to 2,220. South Dakota's Sturgis motorcycle rally may have caused more than 250,000 new coronavirus cases. A new study from the IZA Institute of Labor Economics has found that prolonged interactions between individuals at high frequencies, along with minimum mask wearing and social distancing by attendees, raise concerns that Sturgis would lead to increased cases. A synthetic control approach conducted by the researchers estimated the number of cases to 266,796, or 19%. Local officials say the 10-day rally attracted more than 400,000 people this year. A local veteran is riding his wheelchair 270 miles to raise awareness for Gulf War illness. Now, Kevin Shores will be conducting this wheelchair ride from Moorhead to the state capitol in St. Paul. The original ride was set to take place last May, but Shore was involved in an accident that left him hospitalized and needing rehabilitation for several months. Shores is now using this day to commemorate the 20th anniversary of his first ride. He is blind and currently in a wheelchair, but says this adds element to his adventure. He says the need for more government care is the biggest reason for doing this ride.
As a 100% service-connected, disabled veteran, I am doing this ride to bring about the continuation of the atrocities of veterans, the unacceptable lack of quality and quantity of care that continues not to be given to veterans.
Shore said he should make it to St. Paul by September 19th. He says that his new wheelchair is much faster, so the trip will not take as long as he previously is used to. Well, coming up at noon, see what doctors are saying about the increase in eating disorders since the pandemic has started. And will our day finally warm up? Weather up next to plan your day.